I'm a Child of Appalachia was created in 2005 to encourage pride in our region and to impress upon our region's young people that they could do anything that they dreamed of, and not in spite of being from Appalachian Ohio, but because they were from Appalachian Ohio. So I'm a Child of Appalachia still resonates today because it tells the stories of these amazing people, and it tells the story of our region. It's become a real badge of honor to be able to say, I'm a Child of Appalachia. And I think that's because people want to be able to say that they are a part of this region's story and that this region is really a part of their story too. This year's honorees are Marianne, Campbell, and Dick Hubbard, and we are just so delighted that they've accepted the honor from us. They really exemplify what it is to be a Child of Appalachia honoree. You can say so much about what each of them have done in their own fields, but the real tie between them is that they encouraged others, they supported others, they set an example, and they mentored them.
I can't imagine that there's anyone on the planet who doesn't know Marianne Campbell, and I am one of those who had the great privilege of growing up with her as that image of leadership and compassion and sensibility, and she was so articulate and so energetic.
I've always been an enthusiastic person. I have to stay busy, and I've been involved in this community now for over 65 years, working with the Chamber of Commerce, the Community Improvement Corporation, the French Art Colony, and of course, the Foundation for Appalachian Ohio. I came down here and was teaching school for a year right after I graduated. And I had a young lady in my class, Ann Halliday. Her father, John E. Halliday, was a leading attorney here in Gallipolis, and his one desire was to establish a radio station that would serve the community. Now, back in 1950, a woman 23 years old did not have the opportunity to put a radio station on the air or be the manager of it, but he made that possible for me.
She was a role model for all the girls and young women of Gallipolis and Gallia County, and the people who got to know her across the region and across the state. So that's a legacy in its own right. But when you can form an organization, see it grow, and get it to a point of sustainability where investment really matters and pays off, there is no better legacy than that, and I think that's Marianne Campbell.
In 1977, we established the Holzer Foundation for Tri-State Healthcare, which is now called the Holzer Heritage Foundation. And its whole purpose as a 501c3 is to make tax-deductible donations, contributions made possible, establish endowments. So it's been very successful over the years, still exists. It was through the foundation we established the Holzer Center for Cancer Care, which just in the past few weeks became affiliated as the first hospital to be affiliated with the James Cancer Center in Columbus. What we need are local foundations who understand local needs. So when we started the Gallia Community Foundation, it gave the people who lived here the great opportunity to establish endowments or funding that can help the community, because it's only in the community itself that they realize what their actual needs are.
Marianne is the epitome of what it means to show up. Your personal presence, your personal commitment to an idea, to a cause, to a community is indelible if you just keep showing up. And what I remember about Marianne throughout my growing up years and now as an adult, because I've seen her through the years, there's Marianne, just where I figured she would be.
If you're determined, if you take the opportunity that comes along, if you have the right education and you're willing to work for it, you can accomplish anything you want to accomplish.
Well, Dick Hubbard, I've known all of my adult life. He was a Nelsonville boy that did well, and he always reached out to young men and women in the Nelsonville region, trying to mentor them early on. And Dick didn't just mentor us for 4 or 5 years and move on. He mentored us for his life. He continues to mentor us.
I was brought up and educated right here in Athens County. I attended Ohio U and graduated with a degree in business. Then I left after graduation to go with a bank for a year in Columbus and had a chance to come back home. I did that and stayed for 30 years. If you're a community banker, especially the president of a bank, Your responsibility is not only to run a successful bank, but to take a leadership position in the community, whether it be industrial development, economic development, or education, or what have you. For example, I spent 12 years on the Board of Education. We got together and had a meeting, discussed the development of a vocational high school in Athens County. It took us a couple tries, but finally we passed the bond issue and levy, and were able to build the vocational school to service the 3 counties. And also the federal government gave us the $500,000 to build the building and start Tri-County Technical Institute, which became Hocking Technical Institute, which became Hocking College. In 1970, a couple young men from Columbus came down to see me at the bank, and they had a video presentation to make. They had said they had purchased an old steam engine, a real locomotive, and they'd acquired some trackage, and they wanted to start a scenic railroad.
And Dick looked at him, he says, okay. He says, how long is it going to take to pay it back, and how are you going to make the payments? He looks at me, he looks back at Dick, he says, not sure.
It was kind of an iffy proposition, obviously. It was a little risky, but I felt that if it could have a chance to work any place, it should be here.
Well, it was maybe a day or two later, Dick walked by my office and stuck his head in the door, and he said, Court, he says, I think we can convince the bank examiners that this is a good loan. And as you know today, 30 years later, you can still take a ride on the Hocking Valley Scenic Railroad.
Comes the train. Now that might be my caboose.